This is important to understand because if you're not familiar with history, then you are doomed to repeat it. No. If you do not study history, then you are doomed to witness it repeat itself over and over in different ways. Michael Malice was talking with Alex Jones on the Timcast IRL podcast the other night. They were talking about how life is a song, and you can be stuck in a good chorus or a bad chorus. And I think this kind of lends itself to that thought, maybe. There's a lot of symmetry, historical symmetry in this. A lot like those things where they would say, you know, that Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln, and Lincoln, you know, secretary, he was banging Miss Kennedy. You know, those kinds of things. Those may appear in some of this. So between the election of Joe Biden and the Donald Trump administration fighting back right now, let's just look at some symmetry from the 1876 presidential election and the electoral vote count. Now, the other day, I posted a video about how Michigan State Police were barring Republican electors from casting votes. It's not something that they're allowed to do legally. In fact, the electors are supposed to be able to legally cast votes, regardless of whether or not their party had won, because that is what's called dueling electors. We can have dueling electors from multiple states. In fact, you saw the other day, 7 in total cast votes from dueling electors. In 1876, this says on this date, being February 1st, 1877, a joint session of the 44th Congress from 1875 through 1877 met for the first time to count the electoral votes in the presidential election of 76. Democrat Samuel Tilden, so Sam Tilden, like Joe Biden, Sam Tilden, Democrat, had emerged from the close election, leading the Republican Rutherford B. Hayes, not Donald J. Trump, but Rutherford B. Hayes of Ohio, just 1 vote shy of the 185 then needed to win the election. Okay, so in summary, they're saying the Democrat, Sam Tilden, just narrowly beat Rutherford B. Hayes. The 1 vote that was required, they could look at Louisiana, Florida, South Carolina, and then the, I think, territory, but they're calling it a state here, of Oregon, remained in dispute. And so they say the southern tallies were particularly controversial. Both Tilden and Hayes electors submitted votes from these 3 states. The states, I think, being Louisiana, Florida, and South Carolina. They say those 3 states each claimed victory in violent and confused elections. Sound familiar? The Democratic-controlled House and Republican-dominated Senate came to a compromise on how to resolve the problem by creating an electoral commission. Okay? A bipartisan committee of House members, senators, Supreme Court justices, who would determine the final disposition of the yet unassigned electoral votes from those states. Okay, so it's a little different from the situation we have now because they had yet been certified at that point in 1876. But what I'm suggesting is that there is precedent for 2 sets of electors sending dual votes and having them go to a commission. Okay, now that commission met in joint session, Congress rather, met in joint session 15 times over the next month. Okay, they had acted in the decision of the commission, right? The commission had decided that, quote, there is a great desire to witness a fair count. Okay, that's what the New York Times had reported them saying, and quote, the curiosity was increased by the expectation that the new laws would afford some new diversion to the formality of counting. So this said in February 1st, they went to work, they submitted Florida returns for an investigation, and imagine this giant table where a gallery all the way around, this giant room where everyone can look down, everyone can see different ballots, no one's hiding anything, there's no trunks and big cases under tables. There's no storage bins anywhere. People aren't being cast out. No one's being told, leave. You're not allowed to see these votes. You must go. Kick all of the Republican vote counters out. It's not what they were saying. They did the opposite here. They said they had a investigation before a large crowd, rather, in the gallery. So big open room, bunch of people there, everyone watching. So there's no cheating because everyone can see everyone, okay? Pretty simple. They granted Hayes the vote, the win after that. Again, they audited wide open in front of God and everybody. They didn't want to create new laws in the form, they didn't want to create new laws because they would, quote, afford some new diversion to the formality of the counting. So they don't want to do we'll hush it up over here, or we'll go into this private room and deal with it over here. The commission made the decision that the group in front of a gallery could watch this recount, so to speak, this audit of the vote. So that's what they got. And sure enough, the disputed votes were then awarded to Hayes. So historically, you have an election being called for the Democrat, Sam Tilden. And then when dual electors are cast, you have a commission then decide, I guess we have to go back and actually count the votes. And when they did that, they did it in front of a large gallery where there could not be any fraud. And when they did that, they gave those votes to Hayes, granting him the victory by a vote. Remember, he had lost by a vote. He ended up winning by a vote. So when you jump in the comments section on any video and say, this is stupid, these electors shouldn't be casting votes anyways, just understand that's an ahistorical look and you should read more. Like this video, comment below, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and then make sure that you do everything else that you can do to help win this election and to keep America afloat.